Okay, welcome back to day 308. Yeah. Yay. I feel warm. God, it's hot in here. I might kick on the air. So close to the weekend. So now, but I'm so tired. No doing things tomorrow. Well, it's not. Anyways, you might be wondering, hey, didn't you mention before in a previous video multiple times how stressed you are about the fact that you have too many books that you're trying to read? I'm like, yes. And what did I do? Did I read one of the actual books that I was in the middle of reading? No. I read a thick comic book thing that I had that's been taking up room in the currently reading section of my side table, my currently reading section. So I have 2 books, but I had 3 books and one I just didn't read yet, and I'm like, well, that's easy. Let me just read that real quick. So I read it, and now I put my new book in its slot. Did it solve anything? No. I still am in the middle of 3 books. One on my phone. 2 on my side table. But I'm glad I read it. Because I've been meaning to. I just haven't sat down and did it because there's just so many other things I could be doing. Or chilling my brain out in a different way, like just relaxing different ways, that just sitting down to reading, I'm just like, I could watch something, I could do anything else, but now I have to read with my brain. Sometimes you're just too tired for that. Yeah. Especially if it's a slightly, I don't think, like with slightly older books or like sci-fi books where they will use words that you have to kind of think about for a second. It just doesn't like click. You're like, what? It's like they're words they made up, or sometimes it's old-fashioned speak, sometimes it's dialects, sometimes it's like things that don't exist, or places that don't exist, or places that do exist or did exist but don't anymore, or you're not familiar with them. And you're like, okay, got it. So that's I don't know what the newest book. I think it's about a mystery. I don't know, actually. I don't know what it's about. I bought it solely for the author. Surprisingly, I don't normally do. Usually it's more of the stories involved. Growing up, I didn't read very much. So when I did start reading, which I still don't do very often at all, I chose stories that I wanted to read, either universes that I already know, like The Witcher. I only started reading that because I wanted to know if it was better or worse than the TV show. It's better. It's not great with feminism, but it's weird because I think it said back in the day people didn't vibe because he was too progressive, and I think it's interesting that he was too progressive, or back then was progressive, but nowadays it's like, ooh, ooh. I think a lot of it is very 80s ideas on politics, or what was talked in the 80s as politics, like what to do with the Native Americans. And I'm like, you're not even in America. Like, it's just like, okay. But I think he mentioned that with like the elves. which I don't know what is supposed to be what it is. I think you're supposed to agree with Geralt, which Geralt ends with, well, let them just do them. But almost not let them do them, even though they're stupid and stubborn. But let them do them. But I think that that's not the best way to end that. But also, it's only the first book out of many. But he did mini, like, they were, each of those stories were mini, like, stories, like short stories, and then he put them together to make the universe that is The Witcher. So book 1 and 2 are mini stories, and then book 3 to 7 I think he wrote as books, which is kind of where I want to be like, okay, well, I kind of want to read the first 2 then. I just never bought the second Witcher, but I definitely should. I definitely want to, because for me The Witcher is the perfect pocket book that I had, where you can just put it in your bag and just bring with you, and I think that would be really nice to do. But I don't have it, and my other books are too... What am I in the middle of reading? Am I on the... Did I finish? Wait, did I finish one of the books? What books am I reading? Oh, yeah, the other ones are hardcover books, or my last one, which was kind of just wide. It's a little too wide for my bag, and I don't want to destroy it. Like my Witcher book, they're made so cheaply that they get destroyed. It's like what they are. They're like, I don't know what you call them, like, but pocket books, like pocket bag, like paperback pocket books, where, like, in the airport, they're not supposed to say pristine. Like, even just reading it once, it looks battered to hell back. My Witcher book, I read it once, and it is like the cover is frailing up, like all the edges are destroyed, and the spine looks like I opened it quite a bit. It's just how it is, and I don't mind that. I do like that kind of book. I think it would be really interesting if I wanted to read it over and over again. How long will it actually last? I'm really into those kind of like looks, that kind of book. Like, I'm cool with it being made that way. That's exactly what I want. I want a book that I don't mind throwing in my bag, kind of being rough with. My hardcover books, I'm like, well, I don't want to be rough with them. I want them to stay clean. So, I don't like doing it with that, so I might get the second Witcher book, because A, I want to read it, but B, I want to put it in my bag and to carry it around with me without having to be on my phone. The only thing is I wear glasses for far away, so when I'm reading up close, I like to take them off. With COVID, I don't like touching my face that much, so I I like being careful with that. But one time when I had to do my ultrasound, I had to wait in the waiting room for like an hour and a couple of minutes, like 20 minutes or something, and I'm just like, what do I do? And because I tried reading on my phone, but I didn't know how long it would be taken, but I didn't want to take off my glasses, so because my phone already had, like, when it's not clean, I'm like, it has Rona. It didn't have Rona, hopefully. If so, dodged it anyways. But I usually try to, if I touch something and then touch my phone or touch my glasses or touch something, I'm like, whoa, just let me wipe that off, that has Rona. But anyways, the point was that I already touched my phone, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then the thing that was on that I couldn't see the TV anyways was the Home Improvement channel. Like, it always is. I don't know why my doctor's office is, my one has always the news and infomercials, and that's it. But the other one always just has the Home Improvement channel, or like home channel, not home improvement, it's like home, like this is the historic, I guess that's still the home improvement channel, but it's like they took an old bank and turned it into a house. And I'm like, but you put your kids in there and it still has the vault door that if it closes you can't open it because you don't have the lock combo. And they're like, I'm like, but your 2 younger sons are in there. Young, but not like babies. And they're like, I'm like, okay. And then they're like, I got a castle. And I'm like, castles in Europe are not expensive. The expensive part would make it into a home. But buying an actual castle is not expensive. Fun fact. There's just so many castles, just you can get one. Which is really funny to me. But making it into modern accommodations is what would be pricey. Because you also don't want to do that, because then it might lose a lot of the value, or whatever, I don't know. Because it depends, because if they want a historic building and you're like, oh, I changed it all, they're like, thanks. I'm tired. I just played video games for like an hour, which is very nice. I'm very happy about that. I got like, you can get good teammate points. So I got good teammate points by like all my teammates, and I'm like, ooh, so I must have been a really good teammate. But yeah, the other day I was playing Overwatch, and you know, the whole McCree, the guy that McCree, the character McCree was named after, whose name is Jesse McCree, apparently is not a great guy behind the scenes. And we were like, haha, do something, and they're like, I think they fired the actual human Jesse McCree. And they're like, okay, but we'll also change Jesse McCree's name. And we will not do this in the future. Name characters after employees. And we're like, okay, but maybe just don't have bad employees. But anyways, but what happened is I'm a lot. Anyways, what happened was that I was watching, I was playing Overwatch, and they're like, there's a dialogue apparently from Sombra to McCree, and it's like, you know, Sombra asked Jesse McCree what his real name is, and Jesse McCree goes, I don't know what you heard, but my name isn't Joel. And I'm like, they should change his name to Joel. I think that would be the best thing. They changed him to Joel, you know, starts with an M last name, and then he's like, he just went by Jesse McCree. I think that would have been funny. I think it would be good. I think that would be a nice explanation. I think it would be funny. Because it's just like his real name was Joel. I vote that's what they should do. I would make a joke about Jeff Overwatch, but he stepped down. Yeah. I don't even know if he was exclusively Overwatch. He might have been a Blizzard guy. I have no idea. I don't know things behind the scenes. Yeah, people are like, this actor, this. I'm like, I don't care. I don't know actors. I don't know actors. I don't know the people know directors and this and that and writers, and I'm like, nah. The only time I really look up writers or directors or anything like that is if I notice playing a little in things like a little with there was a few things that were like really sexist or really uncomfortable, or certain things that are like, he is a little too into this, you know, like you're But what happened was, yeah, I looked up the writers for Letterkenny because I don't know if I talked about it before, but there was a joke where this couple, a man and a woman, like to invite other people into their relationship purely for sex, but they labeled them wrong because of like the person, and they labeled different people, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure the person, like a guy you invite into bed, is called a bull, and the other one is not called that. And then like I think hot wife or something. But I'm just like, but that's wrong, that's flipped, because I've seen enough jokes about this that I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was seared into my brain where I'm like, I think that was wrong. And they're like, I can't bring that up. It's a myth that I seen that, like I know enough. And I'm like, I don't want to know enough about that to tell them that they're wrong. But I think they're wrong because they said it the wrong way. I think the husband wouldn't be the bull. He would, the person they bring in is the bull. But I think they got that wrong. And then at a different point, they're like, oh, gay Hooters. And I'm like, oh, because you know what was really big at that time? Femboy Hooters. I literally saw a joke about that today. Femboy Hooters can be like gay Hooters. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're making a joke about femboy Hooters, but they just don't want to say the word femboy. Nope. It was same Hooters, but gay men just like boobs. And I'm like, okay. And one of the main writers is queer. He identifies as queer. And I get that. However, if you're going to make younger jokes, maybe bring in younger audience or younger writers, because I think when they said like gay Hooters, instantly I thought femboy Hooters. The big thing that like was like a year ago was really big, but still, again, to this day, I hear jokes about femboy Hooters, and I'm like, maybe you should, I don't know, like, it's just, some things are just like, you're there, but you're not quite there, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know it, but you're not quite there, you're not, you know? So it's like, gay Hooters, I'm like, oh, you know the thing, and then it's like, gays like boobs, and I'm like, man, nope, we missed it, you missed it. And yeah, there's other ones too where they're like, it's not, you miss the mark, you miss it, you know, you're not quite there. God, I can't remember many others, but yeah, I don't know, man, I don't know. And,